How's it going, guys? Today I'm going to show you exactly what it's like to drive the new generation G-Wagon from a first-person point of view. Loved by celebrities, rappers, athletes, and more, the G-Wagon is a status symbol like no other. But finally, after 3 decades of essentially sharing the same platform, they have fully overhauled the new G-Wagon, and it has become better in every conceivable way. Under the hood of the new G-Wagon is a 4-liter twin-turbocharged V8, making 577 horsepower and 627 pound-feet of torque. 0 to 60 happens in 3.9 seconds. That's 0.9 seconds faster than the old generation car, and it's mated to a 9-speed automatic gearbox. Overall, the exterior is a little bit more rounded, but it does look classic G-Wagon. You can really tell the difference by the headlights right here, as well as the more rounded front bumper, as well as some bits and pieces at the rear. But one of my favorite parts of every G-Wagon is this sound right here. When you open the door and shut it, it sounds like you're closing a bank vault. Apart from the way it drives, which we'll talk about in a little bit, the other extreme difference between this and the old G63 is the gorgeous new interior. Before, you were paying for status. You were paying for a car that looks like a military tank that happened to have a Mercedes logo. No longer, this thing is a full-fledged luxury car. We'll go ahead and turn it on. Fire up that beautiful sounding V8. Paddles mounted behind the steering wheel for that 9-speed automatic transmission. Go ahead and shut the door here. The materials in here are top notch, and it kind of feels like an S-Class. We've got the dual 12.3-inch screens, one for the instrument cluster and one for the infotainment system. Taking a look at the steering wheel, we've got a series of controls, both on the right side and the left side. We go ahead and click this home button right here. That'll bring up home on the main multimedia screen right here. And then check this out, light settings. You can change between a ton of different ambient light colors, which really does look very cool at nighttime. I love ambient lighting. I think Mercedes absolutely dominates the game in terms of their ambient lighting. Let's check out the rear seat environment, shall we? Hopping on the inside of the car, more of that beautiful contrasted red leather. Now, surprisingly, you actually have a fair amount of legroom and tons of headroom back here. You'll notice beautiful Alcantara roof, but it actually has an indentation here. There's a lot more space in the rear seat environment of this car than there was in the last generation G-Wagon. Good amount of space back here as well. All right, guys, let's take it out on the road. So like many modern day Mercedes, to put the car into drive, you just push down on this lever right here. I love the fact that it's got a customizable instrument cluster. We're in progressive mode right now. We can go to classic, or we can go to the sport display, which very much reminds me of my E63. Got a nice little image there. We also have a nice little Archie Hamilton as my passenger.
Don't call me little again.
You're smaller than me.
That's not what she said.
Great. This review is...
Break. I'm not a good passenger.
Are you not a good passenger?
No.
I will say it is pretty damn fast. 627 pound-feet in a massive SUV is a lot of power, and you've got one of the most unique driving experiences of any vehicle. There really isn't anything else that drives like a G-Wagon, which used to be a negative. It used to drive like a tank riding on a bag of bricks. It's really, you're sitting very vertically. The windshield is completely vertical, but they've changed the driving experience so much for the new one. The suspension is better. It drives a lot more smoothly. It was almost confusing to me why so many people, the upper echelon people, bought these as status symbols, because the last generation car wasn't actually that great to drive. It didn't ride well. Sure, it was fantastic off-roading. We've got 3 different individual locking differentials, but nobody is using locking differentials when they're going to buy Louis Vuitton bags at the mall. Now, it rides a lot closer to something like an S-Class, so using this as a daily driver is totally possible. Now, it is very high off the ground. It's got kind of a narrow wheelbase, so it does feel a little bit like it's going to tip over, which hopefully it doesn't in the middle of this review. That would make Archie really happy. Do you think we should tip it over?
It's just not really a good idea.
Not really a good idea. But it just drives so much nicer. Steering feel, obviously there's no communication in the wheel itself, but the actual movement of the steering wheel feels nice.
Just watch out for the cameras.
Love this digital dash. The overall layout of the car has improved so much. It actually feels like a luxurious car instead of, you know, an overpriced brick. Overall, though, it does feel very similar to a G-Wagon in general. Obviously, it looks like a G-Wagon, despite the fact that they've done a complete overhaul from the engine to the exterior to the interior. You can tell it's got that Mercedes G-Wagon DNA. Different driving modes down here. There's dynamic selection. So we are in Sport Plus mode right now. There's Sport, the graphics change on the screen. Now we are in Comfort mode. You can also put it into manual mode, clicking that there. And you can change different suspension modes as well. I'd probably do something dumb like drive it in Sport Plus mode with the suspension in the firmest setting the whole time, which makes absolutely no sense, but you know what? That's just me. Realistically, driving this thing in Comfort mode, with comfort suspension is the way to go. What do you think about G-Wagons?
Well, we've got the climate control off and I'm sweating my nuts off. So I think we need some climate control in here, baby.
So that's the one thing that nobody sees in YouTube videos. At least, I don't know if you do this, but for me, for better audio, I turn it off so that you don't just hear this wind noise, but what you don't see is both of us are just in a pool of water.
Anyway, I really like it. We've had it for a couple of days and it's just really, really good fun. Yeah, smooth, quick, and they've obviously come on a long way. I'm a fan. I'm actually a big fan, to the point where this in London would be like perfect.
What do you think about this compared to a new Range Rover?
Oh, just so much worse.
So the very interesting thing about these is the first time I ever did a video of one was actually back in 2019 with Supercars of London, and somebody took delivery of one in England and got to drive it and was very, very impressed. And for the money they were going for then, which was about 160,000 US base price, so let's say 180 grand for an optioned one, it seemed like a good car for the money. But as of 6 months ago in the United States, particularly in Los Angeles, they were charging 300 grand for these, and that's ridiculous. I mean, it is not the same echelon of car as a Lamborghini Urus, and in some cases you could buy a used Urus for less than a used G63, which makes absolutely no sense. That being said, they are crashing in value. I found a couple for below $200,000, and I think they will.
Crashing in value?
Yeah.
We're not in the UK.
Not in the UK?
No.
All right.
They're solid as anything, mate.
All right. In the US, they are starting to go down because all these dealerships bought them and thought that they could sell them for $300,000, which they're just not.
They're ever worth that, but in the UK, you still have to spend a good £180,000. So 200 USD.
Yeah, that's fair.
Okay, well,
that's fair. All right, we'll flick a couple more downshifts. It is fast. And he is already terrified.
Hate it. Can't deal with this.
This is a Le Mans race car driver who can't be a passenger. That's fair enough.
Well, are you surprised when someone like Paul Wallace crashes and breaks my back?
That happened?
That happened.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yes.
What?
Yeah, he crashed a race car and put it in the wall with me next to him, and I broke my back.
Okay.
So I have a reason.
Well, now I fully understand and am much less offended, because I was like, I drive cars for a living, and when I took off from the parking lot, Archie goes, remember to drive on the right side of the road, forgetting that that's
right
where...
is right.
Exactly.
Exactly. And we drive on the other side in the UK.
And that's wrong?
No, it's right.
No.
You complete idiot. Just focus on the road.
All right, let me focus on this review again. This is the most interesting review I've ever done. For those who have missed the last couple of videos, I'm spending the next month in Dubai, which is really, really exciting and awesome. We've seen some crazy cars already, seen some crazy car dealerships, and it feels very Dubai driving a white G-Wagon around town. About to head to, I believe, the Burj Khalifa for dinner, which is the tallest building in the world. So that'll be pretty darn cool. Overall, my thoughts on the G-Wagon, are they worth the markup prices of several months ago? Absolutely not. If you can find one at sticker price, or, you know, around the $180,000 to $200,000 range, I do think it's worth it. This is a fantastic vehicle. It looks the part. It should hold its value as long as you're not paying way over sticker. And it's fast. The interior is really nice, and this is by far the best G-Wagon they have ever made. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed today's video. Like always, please browse the channel and subscribe. I look forward to seeing you next video.